why as human beings, in spite of our search for security, for peace, we are not able to live peacefully. Only 8% of recorded history we were at peace. And as we all know, in 20th century, around 100 million people died in wars. And that is something the most critical century. And now we are in 21st century. And in the beginning of this century, around 40 million people were displaced, became homeless. So these are the facts which are only mirroring what we are as a collective human consciousness. We have progressed in so many directions. We have progressed immensely in technology, in creating wonderful things. But somehow the deep question is why we have not really progressed in peace, in finding really a true home for all of us on this earth. A home of love, home of peace, home of compassion. So this is a very big question. So the crisis which we face outside in the world, it's actually a crisis inside each one of us. It's a crisis of our relationship. It's a crisis of how we live our daily life. So this self-inquiry requires an honest examination of our day-to-day living, how we live our daily life. And for this self-inquiry, I feel that there are certain qualities which are needed. This quality of listening is something must in this self-inquiry, in this spiritual journey, if I can use that word. And so first of all, I would like to really explore a little bit, what is this quality of listening? We all know hearing, like we have ears, we can hear sounds around us, we can hear voices, we can hear each other. That is one aspect of listening. But there is a deeper aspect of this listening. How do we listen to each other? How do we listen to oneself? Usually what happens, since our minds, our brains are conditioned through different cultures, through our upbringing, through religion, through certain belief systems, through our likes and dislikes, through our education system. So our brains are conditioned. And there are so many prejudices. So what happens, we listen with a certain background. Our thinking process comes in the listening. Like you are, at this moment you are listening to me. How you are listening? Can you put this question to yourself? Are you listening through comparison? Are you listening with the knowledge you have already about, all these matters? How you are listening? Are you listening with a certain image you have? Are you listening with certain likes and dislikes, certain preferences? So we usually listen with a background. But when we are listening with a background, when we are listening with a past knowledge, are we really listening? The true listening happens when mind is quiet. Without this silence of the mind, can we listen to anything? Can we? When the mind is chattering, we only hear words, but listening doesn't happen. So this deep listening happens when the mind is really quiet. When it is listening without judging. When it is listening without comparison. So this deep quality of listening is something very important for self-exploration, for living life holistically. So this art of living consists of this first very important quality. And another quality is the quality of looking. So how do we look? Can we ask this question to ourselves? Again, can we look if our minds are chattering, our minds are busy in our past knowledge, in our past stories? If mind is busy, it cannot look. It cannot look around oneself, even at the tree or birds or nature. Without this silence of the mind, one cannot look. Otherwise, our looking will be very fragmentary. It will be very partial, limited. So this quality of looking is something very important in this self-inquiry. And for this listening and looking, apart from the silence of the mind, I feel a quality of deep affection is necessary. Without deep affection, we cannot listen and look. Unless we have this sense of togetherness, a deep affection and love, our looking, our listening remains very dry. It remains at the level of intellect. And this self-inquiry is not a matter of intellect only. Of course, intellect can play its role, it can help. I feel this quality of heart is necessary in this looking and listening. Without heart and mind cooperating together, walking together, we can't listen or look. So life is a process of learning. And this learning happens through looking and listening. And this is an ongoing process. And this learning is not just learning from books. It's not memorizing. This learning is learning about the whole of life, about oneself. Learning how our minds function, how they operate. Can we watch our minds as they are functioning? How fears generate in ourselves. How prejudices operate in our day-to-day living. How we are carrying images about others, how we are identified with certain things in our life. So learning about everything is part of this inquiry. And we learn through looking and listening. So this learning is not memorizing. This is a very different kind of learning. It is not accumulating knowledge or things. I feel this spiritual journey begins each moment, each day. It is not an accumulation of days and years, but looking and listening in this moment, learning in this moment. And the second moment, it's it's fresh. It's like a river flowing, cleaning itself as it is flowing. So learning is also cleansing oneself, one's minds, one's brains, one's hearts, of all its accumulation, hurts. So this learning is actually emptying oneself. And this emptying happens through looking and listening. When the mind is not occupied, then it is in leisure, in the state of leisure. So this quality of leisure is very important in this self-inquiry, in learning about life, or you call it art of living. Because when the mind, as we all know, our minds are generally occupied all the time, like a machinery which is never stopping. And when some machine is all the time functioning, it loses the quality. It becomes degenerated. It becomes tired. And this is a live machinery, our brains. If it is all the time, chattering, occupied, then it loses the quality of sensitivity. That's why this leisure is very important. Taking this deep rest, taking a deep breath. And our retreat, these meetings are intended for this deep leisure. This is not gathering more knowledge. We are not here for accumulating some more knowledge of anybody, but it is shedding our burden, unburdening oneself, whatever we have accumulated. And this unburdening happens when we look, listen, and learn in this state of leisure, deep rest. Then we can heal ourselves. The healing of the mind happens when we know how to rest. So without this quality of love, self-inquiry has no meaning. Our spiritual quest has no meaning. Our whole life has no meaning. And this quality of love is something basic, fundamental for doing any action, for living our life. And without this, life is meaningless without this quality. And this is our deepest quest. This is what we need to establish on this earth, this quality of love. Because of this love, peace can happen. We can live with harmony, with sense of compassion, feeling for each other. And when this quality of love is there, we can listen to each other. Out of this quality of love, we can look at each other. When there is love, we do not judge each other. Do we? We don't look through judgment or through images when there is love. And in this space of love, mind can learn, mind can rest. And I feel without this quality of love, whatever we do, it brings more destruction. And anything which is not based on love, I feel is non-essential. And this self-inquiry is also to find out, to discover what is essential and what is non-essential. And at one place I remember, like Krishnamurti was giving a talk. He was asking this question: what is one factor which will solve all our problems? We have explored scientifically, economically, in every direction, but somehow we have missed something very deeply. If we look at our earth, where 22,000 children die every day out of poverty, it is unbelievable. There is so much disparity on this earth. There is fear in our hearts, in our minds. So he was asking, what is one factor which can solve all our problems? And Krishnamurti said, that is love. And we need to explore this quality of love. We can't say, I know love. It's a dimension which is not through our memory, through our ideas. It is something beyond. That's why I love what Rumi said. You have heard of Rumi, a Sufi poet. He said that beyond all ideas, there is a field. Will you meet me there? He's inviting all of us, can we meet in a space, in a field, which is beyond all ideas, beyond all belief systems, beyond all borders, all divisions. So this is the invitation of this retreat. Can we all meet in that space which is beyond all ideas, which is really true peace, true love?